Introducing a new podcast. Karen Hunter is awesome.
If you like me on SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126, you're gonna love me. And Karen Hunter is awesome. Hey, this is Karen Hunter, host of the Karen Hunter Show on SiriusXM's Urban View. Karen Hunter is awesome is an actual podcast to bring heat and energy and knowledge and power. A 1-2 punch that I don't think you get anyplace else. Tell the truth. So check out the podcast wherever you get your podcast. You will not be disappointed.
Karen Hunter is awesome. A new podcast from Karen Hunter.
Well, I brought you on because the state of our union is, I feel like it's done. I feel like we could stick a fork in America, and I'm okay with that because I feel like it's time for us to, make this a more perfect union. There's an opportunity for us to step in the gap of where there's so many holes in this country and get some things done. I was looking globally. Greenland, Denmark is like middle fingers to you. Ireland has been coming hard, which I'm like, come on through, Ireland, Barbados. So there's a politician in Ireland that has some words for Trump, and I thought it was fascinating that these countries are not taking it laying down. Play that clip, Smiz.
Yesterday, we witnessed the inauguration of a man whose ideology embodies everything the EU was founded to reject. The EU cannot just stand for our values when it is easy. It matters most when it comes at a cost. And standing up to Trump will come with a cost, but is much less than the cost of letting this poison win. And I am done with the niceties from EU leaders that Trump, while his tech bro buddies call for our laws to be undermined. I am done with the Taoiseach of Ireland, with our historic understanding of immigration and oppression, promoting Trump's golf links in County Clare in response to his inauguration. And I am done with the so-called strong men who, if they had to live for one day in the shoes of an immigrant, a woman, or a transgender person, would quiver with fear. Anyone who believes in the founding principles of the EU should be appalled by what we witnessed yesterday. I am appalled, so I resist, and Europe must resist, because our history demands it.
That is Aiden Oren. Amazing. And if this man could do that in Ireland, what are we doing here, Trae Crowder?
Yeah, Ireland's got a pretty long and storied tradition of keeping it real in that way, I feel like, and standing up to bullies and things of that nature. So it is pretty on brand for them. But I love it when anybody, or, like that lady preacher, I'm talking about?
Bishop?
Yeah, right. I'm not good with like church titles and stuff, but, the preacher woman who like told it to Trump's face or whatever. That I appreciate anybody like standing up for him, but I worry about. Aiden said in that speech, tired of other EU leaders capitulating and everything, and I just feel like I'm worried that too many people in high level positions around the world are also compromised by like greed and big tech and stuff. Like these tech bro guys, they're like concentrated in the US or whatever, but they're
global.
Yeah, right.
And they have no allegiance to America. And this is where I'm headed, because I see pickup trucks with the American flag, and I'm proud to be an American, and I'm America first and America this. And they have sold you. Trump's first meeting was with the Saudis, who pledged to give us $1 trillion. What's in exchange? They gave Jared Kushner $2 billion last time they were in office. For what? What are we exchanging with the Saudis? And it's weird to me that all of these people beating their chests about being American and the immigrants coming in here are okay with a South African, with a apartheid South African being co-president, right?
Right.
And all of these other folk who aren't from here or who don't care about this country because they got bunkers in other places. They're not American, America first.
No. And then also at the same time that's happening, while he's meeting with the Saudis and all that, there's also, I don't know if you've seen them, but there's been like people have taken screenshots from Twitter and Facebook and all over the internet of all these Trump supporters tweeting at Trump or tweeting at Republican senators, or just, posting about how like, hey, the cost of my medicine just went up like crazy. What is this about? I can't afford this. This is going to ruin me. Or like, I had a good job with the VA and now it's been taken away and I'm a big Trump supporter. How is it? Surely this isn't what's supposed to happen, right? And all the ways that they're already getting screwed over. Meanwhile, eggs are $10 a carton now or whatever, which I thought was the most important thing in the whole world. And, while he's meeting with the Saudis doing all that, it's like, I don't know if it's even possible for those people to learn, but it's like, if anything could do it, it's this, this reality we're living in, like more of maybe finally enough of them will wake up and realize the truth of the matter where all that is concerned. But I don't know. We'll just have to
Are
see.
you hopeful?
Uh, I mean, I'm probably less hopeful right now than I ever have been in my entire life. I used to be more of an optimist than I probably ever seemed like. If I really got down to brass tacks for most of my life, I would be like, no, at the end of the day, we are going to be okay. Humanity's going to be okay, and America's going to be okay. And I used to ultimately believe that. And I've only ever wavered in recent years, and this is probably the hardest I've ever wavered. But I have to tell myself something to sleep at night, and also to, hope that there's a future for my children. So I can still lie to myself enough to think like, we can pull out of it. But like, am I hopeful? No. And my friend group is not helping with any of this either. It's just a bunch of cynical, miserable comedians and stuff who are like, have already written it off. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's done. This is,
Well, I'm hopeful. And I'm hopeful because there are so many people who are willing to speak up. And I said these times make the person. You get to see who has courage. You get to see who's really about something other than talk. And people are literally putting their careers on the line. And this administration will be targeting people who run their mouths, right?
I
So,
know.
and
Believe me,
they're
I've
going to have
thought
an
about
enemies
that.
list. But but running and cowering is not the answer. We don't
No.
get to there. More people need to speak up because you can't lock up
Yes.
everybody. So there's I don't know if you watched, I think it's pronounced Shang-Chi. Did you watch Shang-Chi? The Marvel, I think
Marvel
it's
movie?
Marvel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
watch
But
that?
I
Okay.
mean, the one that came out 2 or 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
With
So
yeah.
the star of that is Simi Liu,
Yes.
and he's from Canada. He had
Right.
something to say. Again, people from other places who are here got some stuff to say, and I appreciate it. Play that clip, Smiz.
So I'll preface by saying that I'm not American, I'm Canadian, but I live in America, I own property in America, and I pay American taxes. And I read the new administration's new tax plan, and it looks like I get a tax cut. And I guess I just wanted to say that I don't need a tax cut. I'm happy to pay taxes. I believe I should pay taxes, and I actually believe that people like me should probably pay more tax. I've been very fortunate and am very privileged, and I'm happy to pay my fair share. And I guess it's just a little confusing to me because in this tax plan, 95% of Americans, basically Americans that make less than $360,000 a year, will not get tax cuts. They will have their taxes go up, which means their cost of living will go up and their income will go down. And that's really shitty. And I'm just so confused because you have so much of the American population who voted for a president that so clearly does not act in their best interest. And, instead of attacking the root causes of whatever is contributing to this massive wealth disparity, is instead, distracting the public with issues and really throwing, like, scapegoating women, people of color, and queer people and trans people. And I think it's clear to me what's really happening, which is that capitalism is running rampant, and there's massive deregulation that's really allowing for the creation of these multi-billionaires who have at this point amassed so much wealth that they can buy media companies and very easily influence, politics and policy and, change the course of elections. And I guess it's all just a little bit scary to me in a very roundabout way of saying that I don't need tax cuts and I guess just making a verbal promise to myself that any money that I save from these tax cuts in this administration, I will be donating instead.
I love that. Trae Crowder is here. Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, I mean, the whole why do these people love this guy so much when he doesn't have their interest at heart is obviously something that I've been wondering for going on 9 years. Since 2016, I was flabbergasted by it because I was like, But even it was like, I know he's telling you what you want to hear, but you know that he's full of it, right? But they didn't. But like even this week, I watched his whole inauguration address, start to finish, and
You
like,
did. You were one of the 20-something%
yeah,
people that
and
tuned in.
and I thought throughout the whole thing, I was like, man, if you're already a huge Trump fan and you don't know what a lot of this really means or what he really means by it or what he plans to do about it, then if you don't know any of that, this sounds so great to you because the whole thing is just like, this country is awesome and it's going to be even more awesome than it's ever been. And like this country is unfair to its citizens and it favors just a certain privileged few at the expense of everybody else. And it's like, that's true, but he doesn't mean his billionaire, boat buddies. He means the phantom immigrants that are robbing everybody and taking everybody's jobs that we're letting. That's the people he's talking about. And his fans mean that too. And they're pumped about that. But that's what I'm saying. It's like when he says this country's unfair and we're going to fix it, it's like that on its own sounds good if you don't have all the context of what he means or what his plans are. And a lot of them just don't. They just hear that. They just hear him rah rah, America's great, and I'm going to make it even better. And they're like, well, see, he said it was going to be awesome, so that means it's going to be awesome. And that's as far as it goes for a lot of them, I think. And because what we were saying earlier about reality not mattering and facts not mattering and all that stuff, they live in a completely different reality, So,
But it's not just them, though. There are quote unquote well-meaning white liberals. The majority of this country is white.
mm-hmm.
The majority of this country is white and self-segregated. And the majority of this country is white, self-segregated, and even if they think they're good people, they aren't doing good things because good people speak out for the things. And I don't hear a loud roar. There was a little bit of a march. After he got elected the first time, some pussy hat wearing women went out, but then more women voted for him the second time. And white women, because 92% of black women did what we were supposed to do. So I'm in a position right now, Trae, where I am not going to cajole folk to, if you would just be an ally or whatever, do what you do. And watch what happens next. But I'm doubling down on building from within, and I feel like that's self-preservation at this point.
Yeah,
because it doesn't feel like any allyship is happening.
No, well, I'm gonna keep running my mouth about it all the way that I have been. But it's like, even aside from the idea of thinking like, man, is this really gonna get to a point where sometimes I'll be like, am I gonna get put in jail eventually for saying some of the things I say or making the video? Is it gonna be made like, is that really is it gonna be that hardcore fascist? Like, because I'm still at the end of the day, I'm like, no, surely it ain't gonna get that wild.
Let me hear a joke that you're working on that you think might put you in jail.
It's more like just every internet video I ever make is, the one I made this week was about what I was just talking to you about his inauguration address and how it was all full of shit. And if you believe him, your brain is bad and doesn't work right and all this stuff. It's just like heavy criticism of them and everything they stand for all the time. So if they make that fundamental or, functionally illegal, is it really going to come to that? But it also, you don't even have to go that far though. And this is what I was trying to get to. You're talking about like people speaking up and all this stuff from the other side and the opposition. It don't even have to necessarily get to a place of locking those people up, which that also could happen. But like, there's been so much coming out recently about the tech bros and not just Musk anymore, but like Zuck, met Instagram, Facebook, now TikTok and Twitter, and all of them are like, censoring people basically, or at least suppressing those types of voices while elevating the other ones. So it's like, even if they're not throwing you in jail, they can still kind of effectively silence you, even if you are trying to say the right things. So it's, I'm not trying to be too negative about it. I'm just saying that it's all really bad and freaky because, even if people try to speak up, it might be harder said than done in the next few years because of the propaganda machine and tech bros owning the media and the culture and everything. So I don't know.
I assessed that very thing, and I thought about being everywhere. I'm the type person. I'm like 2x2, 2x2, 4x4. Let's 8x8. Let's let's grassroots this and then get out. But I'm about to throw myself everywhere. Everywhere, because again, and then duplicate. Like there needs to be millions of us saying things, and we're everywhere, and just kind of to use a term, a blitzkrieg of goodness. Is that an oxymoron? A blitzkrieg of goodness just everywhere. But we have to keep trying, and we have to keep coming together. Are there things that we can collaborate on this year and beyond? Because I'm looking at different states that we can go in. I want to run somebody like you against Nancy Mace, against Marjorie Taylor Greene in a primary. And they won't see it coming, because when you open your mouth, you're just a good old boy.
Sure.
And I want to do that. Will you help? Will you participate?
Oh yeah, with any not literally running, not me running, but I'm always anything like that. I mean, anytime anybody's ever come to me and asked for that type of help, whatever I can do, I try to do the right thing and be part of it. But like actually running for office though, because I would be so terrible at so many aspects of it, because
You wouldn't. It doesn't matter. You wouldn't be worse than the Cloven.
Well, I mean,
Marjorie Taylor
I guess
Greene,
that's a good point.
Yeah, the people, and this is the problem. People like you think you couldn't. Like I'm not qualified, because you actually have a brain, and you probably aren't qualified. But there's no more qualifications, Trae Crowder. No one is qualified.
I mean,
we're about to have a government full of people who are unqualified.
That's true.
Hegseth is unqualified to run our military. Unqualified. Trump is unqualified. None of that matters. I say you run. Run.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, the compilation you can make of things I have said taken out of context that would just bury me politically. But again,
It would not. I promise you it wouldn't.
But I would be on the left. The rules are not the same over here.
I know that doesn't matter. I'm saying, what are the rules? Trump was a Democrat for most of his life. There are no rules. There are no parties. There are no left and right. This is all white and black at this point. And you got the complexion for the connection, sir. And if you got to be somebody that looks just like you and thinks like you. We need to do that. Let's infiltrate. Let's go.
Introducing a new podcast. Karen Hunter is awesome.
If you like me on SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126, you're going to love me. And Karen Hunter is awesome. Hey, this is Karen Hunter, host of The Karen Hunter Show on SiriusXM's Urban View. Karen Hunter is Awesome is an actual podcast to bring heat and energy and knowledge and power. A 1-2 punch that I don't think you get anyplace else. Tell the truth. So check out the podcast wherever you get your podcast. You will not be disappointed.
Karen Hunter is Awesome, a new podcast from Karen Hunter.